So I've just realised that I can't really do a first impressions portion of this kind of video because I've already done that with these two guys here, and I've just went and bought another two, and I've been living with them for a week. So if you don't know, this is a multi-channel active system with a DSP, and these are the tweeter channels, and this is the high-mid channels, and this would be the 6-inch speaker channels, 8-inch, so forth. So I used to have a pair of these here for this duty. So first impressions when I got these two is I tried them on all different speaker groups, and if you don't do the tweeters, you're missing out on a lot of things, but I did quickly get to hear what it would give me in all the different frequency ranges. So now that I've got them here and listening to these four, I must say it's quite ear-opening. So that's probably my second impression for this second round, and we'll move into more of how it sounds in the car. And a big part of this second impression, first impression video was getting all the tuning dialed in, because if we look at just the speakers by themselves, we now have this much playing, whereas before we had this much playing, and now we have this. In total we have that, so it's about 1k up to 20, 22, whatever. And all this bottom section is the Fuzzy Audio V3 monos with Sparkos enabled and GAN FET power supplies. So what are we learning here? The sound was just impeccable and so transparent that I had to go through. I went in swapping cables around and trying out different DACs. So I have about 3 different DAC choices to come out of those units back there. So I have a separate RME ADI2 DAC, and I have the Fireface UFX2, and it has a dedicated 2 channels with extra gain and probably a bit more elaborate circuitry balanced out via Canon, and the other channels just have TRS and different gain structures. So I tried all 3 variations with the tweeters and the high mids on the new topping B100s, and I actually went for the ADI2 from RME. The sound seemed a little bit more refined, so the less I could discern as a bug or a prominence, the more it sat into the mix being a complete sound. Also, changing some of my crossover slopes, adjusting the high pass on the tweeters a bit higher, because I could hear some saturation that I wasn't hearing before. But also I have a resampling low pass, which is set to be fairly steep after about 20k, so coming down 21, 22, and like minus 30 or 40 before it gets to 23, 25k. And I had to try all the different flavors again of 3 different plugins, all the different oversampling modes, the different steepnesses, different cutoff points. Because with the fuzzies, I was having this issue. I could hear the Class D distortion in that upper range. So had to fix all those things, the DAC, the high pass, the low pass, and now I'm in a place where I redid some tuning with the EQ. I don't know if I'd covered this before, but I actually removed this extra material cover I had on this aperture. So that's another more clearer sound I had. I'd had rebuilt some of the internal foam and absorbent properties of those. Yes, I'm at a quite happy place with everything, and yet still I found it hard to come up with some interesting insights for you guys on these amplifiers, because they just amplify. That's kind of where I landed on this thing. They just amplify to the point where their signal to noise ratio is better than the DACs I'm using. So that's another path in my upgrade future, is different 2-channel DAC models, just to replace the tweeter DACs and possibly the high mids as well. So this is the track I was testing about a week ago, which was making me, cross all my T's and dot all my I's. It's this song with lots of high frequency content. So you could almost see those things on a graph, like little pinpricks, little sine waves everywhere. Just the overtone series of those little triangle marimba things, whatever they are. But it's almost like a multi-tone distortion test, which I was looking at. Very intently with the topping B100 and the topping B200, and comparing it to the fuzzy, all the multi-tone things, and the amount of residual sidebands that you would get on all of the other tones. They're basically non-existent with the B100 and B200. You could even say the B100 was marginally better, and everyone wants the B200s because they all want to put them on giant systems, theaters and things like that. But I'm doing like multi-way active, so the B100s are just perfect. Yeah, so I'll be doing this one again when I change the DACs out, getting an extra 10 dB of added dynamic range. Yeah, so even this RME DAC I'm talking about in the boot is still getting on 8 years old, 117, 118, serial to noise ratio. So I didn't even find a equivalent graph to match it up on with the graphs I was using at ASR. So the only one I could find was its big brother, which was a couple of generations newer, and even it fails in comparison to the current crop of DACs that you can buy. Find something else for you. So, yeah, what about the character? It has a lack of character. There's absolutely no character in these amps. If you're looking for character, buy some AB or some other Class Ds. Yeah, so I couldn't find any character to speak of yet. I think I should just leave by saying they've given the top end, the top half of the system, the top half that I've always wanted from a system. Yes, there's plenty of power and dynamics to get out of these little guys, and I'll just solo the high mid and tweeter so you can hear the smack I'm getting from these guys. Yeah, so that's just the tweeter and high mid playing. That's the rest of the system there. Yeah, so pretty good amps. if anyone's just doing home listening, I'm sure the B100s on bookshelves would be quite enough. 100 watt. I did trigger the protection one time, and it wasn't with the high mid. You'd think you'd get more energy out of it. It was with the tweeter, and it's because I accidentally left my resampling low pass off, and in a 44.1 signal into my DSP. If you don't put that oversampling filter on, you get everything keep on going up to 88.2, and then it's like a brick wall of energy that's not part of the music. So that's why we do that, because the DAC for your final stage output doesn't know if it was meant to be one 96 kilohertz signal or whether it was meant to be a 44 kilohertz signal. So you make that distinction for it so that it doesn't create all these overtones that don't exist in the music. Yeah, so that's another story. So it got like 3 times the energy it's meant to, but it's very good protection circuit in those B100s. Some people say they're a bit trigger happy, but I think it's worth having. And like I said, I've only triggered it once with a mistake, and I haven't triggered it with music like you just heard, just smacking away at it, and way louder than I need. So I think that wraps it up for the B100s. Second impressions.